Forget something?
Yo, yo, yo. What's up, YouTube? Play safe when you're working on your car. Yo, yo, yo. Hello, YouTube. It's been a long time. Here with Jack today. Just want to catch up because it's been, how long since I put a video in?
A month,
maybe almost 2 months. So thanks to everyone who came out and watched our driven video. There's almost 1,000 on the show video and a few hundred more on the roll-in night. So that's pretty cool. Thanks for watching, and great to see all the guys who came out. In the meantime, KMR, Birdie's had his grand opening, so everyone go and check that out. I'll drop a link in the description. And what else is happening? I've got a new job.
Yeah.
Mercedes-Benz. So anyone who didn't know, I've worked in luxury for a long time in brands like Holt Renfrew and Burberry brand. And my passion, of course, is cars. And so it's such a great time and a great pleasure to go working for Mercedes-Benz now. And so you're probably going to see some Mercedes content coming up like this. Did you even know AMG has a 2-liter turbo with 28 pounds of boost and 375 horsepower? Crazy. But today we're going to talk about what is up with my ride and why have I bet in 2 years I've had 4 alignments done. I've had my mountain balance done on my front wheels at least 3 times. 2 different sets of wheels, of course. I've got winter and summer wheels. I now have new tires on the front, and I still have this crazy pull to the right. And so good buddies at Locals, Jesse said to me, hey, check your ride height. Maybe your ride height on your Teins is not even. And so sure enough, we'll show you my driver's side is about 1 centimeter higher than my passenger side, and I'm pulling to the right, so it totally makes sense. So today's video is kind of a live and learn. We're going to practice this on the fly, do it yourself, Teins height adjustment versus your preload adjustment, and we'll just kind of run through the Teins and see all that you can do with this vehicle when you've got this coilover setup. So let's check it out. All right, so first things first, how do we know for sure our ride height isn't correct? So ideally you would measure your frame, but you can tell our car is so low, it's really hard to get in and measure the frame. So the most static point is this body panel. It's not adjustable, this is connected to the frame. And on this side, I'm kind of a metric nut, we're at 11 centimeters off the ground. Now we're gonna check the other side. Same spot, same measurement, 12 centimeters. So we're about exactly 1 centimeter too high on the driver's side. We've had a little bit of rub on this side, and you know, for the OGs here that have been watching for a long time, we had a little accident on this side in a snowbank. And so we know we've had some wheel rub. We're actually going to raise the other side to the same as the driver's side rather than drop this, because we know we've had some trouble already. So let's pop the wheels off and we'll show you how you do that. All right, plan B. We haven't even started and we're on plan B. So Jack, tell me what happened when you measured the gap from the front wheel and then you measured the gap on the back wheel.
On the front wheel there's about 1.5 fingers of space, and on the back there's just a finger.
Yeah, so
almost less.
Right. So we didn't actually check the back because we're just assuming that's the front. And now we know, same problem on the back. The back on both wheels is riding 1 centimeter lower on the right than on the driver's side. So like any good car guys, Jack, should we lower it or should we raise it?
Lower it for sure.
So we're gonna lower the high side and make sure that they're both the same, and then just see what the drive is like, because low life. All right, well, Jack's getting busy here. Anyone who hasn't driven an 86 or an FRS, this car from the factory is only about 2,700 pounds. And so if we use like a center point somewhere like right where Jack is by the front door, we can actually lift the whole side of the vehicle and do both wheels at the same time.
I'll make sure I did.
And shout out to Jesse and Infamous on these canards.
Yeah.
Super awesome. We drove through the winter with them. But fair warning, when you're torquing your wheel nuts, make sure you don't rip your knuckles off. There you go, just slide it off. Awesome. All right, wheels off. Now I'm going to show you what the Teins suspension, the coilover looks like, and what the different adjustments are. So you've seen in lots of my videos the rebound adjustment, which is either in my trunk or in the hood. It's on the very top of the shock. Rebound is just like it sounds. It's adjusting how much return resistance the shock has. Now this is what we've got inside. This is, zoom in here a little bit. This is your spring, of course. These two nuts would lock each other in place. That's your preload. So this is how much tension you have on this spring all the time. We call that preload. More preload, stiffer ride, but sometimes to a limit, better handling. You can see there's not a lot of space left here, so the preload is pretty stiff on my car, but it handles great. This bottom lock nut is for your ride height. So what we're going to do is loosen this off with your handy Teins, I don't even know what you call this, it's a wrench, or coilover tool. If you have coilovers, you'll have one, yeah, you'll have one right from the supplier. So we're going to loosen this off, and then we're going to move the entire spring, and we know this side, we want it to be shorter, because we want to lower the ride 1 centimeter. So a little bit of trouble on the back. Our height adjustment nut is a little bit seized onto the thread, so we're going to just kind of clean that up and get it moving again.
Hit it with a hammer.
Yeah, we'll probably hit it with a hammer. But on the front, this is working. So what you should see is the threaded cylinder should stay still as we're creating this gap to lower the wheel, lower our ride height. And so I'm just holding it with my other hand to make sure that this is moving by itself. And this gap that I'm creating right here,
Not sure if you can see that.
That's the 1 centimeter that we need to make it balance to the other side. And so we're actually going to measure it properly when I think we're getting close to 1 centimeter. You can see this is a little bit seized up too. We'll probably use a little wire brush and just clean up these threads so this turns easier. And then when I've got 1 centimeter here, I'm just going to turn the whole cylinder. You can just hold on to the shock. And what this is doing effectively is pulling our wheel higher, lowering our ride height. And so that is about how far I've gone, and then we'll just need to do a little bit more. So back on the rear, I've basically been able to hold the thread underneath this rubber dust cover and twist the bottom so that now I've got some play here. And we're gonna do the same on the back, give it 1 centimeter. Right, so a little bit of seizing up because we haven't adjusted the ride height before. So I'm gonna show you right now a ride height adjustment, moving freely because we got that cleaned up. And the scath right here, a couple more turns, I'm right at 1 centimeter gap. And so what I do to lower it is I'm going to do what we did on the front. I'm going to turn the whole shock, and you can see the thread now will go back in until this set nut is back on the bottom.
Might take a second.
It's going pretty quick actually. So we're just threading this into the base of the shock. So So there we go, it stopped. And now this nut that we loosened before, this doesn't take a ton of torque. We just want to hold this all still again and see how that went tight. Tight, we're good. Now we're gonna make sure the front, I've tightened that up, and then we'll lower the whole car and do our measure to make sure we're down 1 centimeter.
After we put the wheels down.
All right, moment of truth. We're gonna lower the car and see how our adjustment skills are.
Okay, let's go forward.
All right, time for the tail of the tape. We were at 12 centimeters before. 11. Oh, we might be at 11 and a half. Let's go look at the other side.
I really hope it's not what you think it is.
11 and a half.
Oh, yes. No, that's good.
I think we're super close. We might need to
I don't think I'm
adjust this a little bit. It's super close.
Come on.
On the back.
I don't think a millimeter is gonna make that much of it.
Well, you can see that just below 12 and a half. That side I still think is higher. This one's closer to 12. So you know what they say? Measure twice, cut once. We're off. Like,
Try again.
not even half a centimeter. It's like it's a few mils, but it's noticeable. So we're just gonna tweak this a little bit more. Put it back. It may have been when I tightened the height adjustment, the ride adjustment, I may have tightened it and made it a little bit higher. So now we know, lesson learned. We're gonna do it one more time and then we'll measure it again. But we're probably not gonna film all that.
Yeah.
All right, second adjustment done. So just for posterity, we're going to measure the preload, the gap basically between your height adjustment and your preload nut, and just make sure both of those are the same side to side. So here's what I'm talking about. I've got this space here, 2 centimeters. These two are locked in place to give tension on the spring. This one now we've lowered quite a bit just to get a full centimeter out of the ride height to make sure they're even. And after we put the wheels back on, double check our ride height, we're going to check the other side. Sound like fun, Jack?
Yeah. Okay, it's recording.
All right, check it out. Second adjustment. 11 and a half, just above 11 and a half centimeter.
Perfect.
Same spot. We're right on. Just double check the back. The back was at 12. 12. Other side. Come around this side.
I can't really see.
Yeah, it's hard to see. No, because I'm measuring in centimeters. Anyhow, it's right on. Exactly 12. Whew. Just gonna double check our preload on that spring. 3 centimeters on the back, 2 on the front, and then we're good to go. This is the passenger side. I'm at about 1.7 or 1.8. So I need to compress this spring a little bit more, and then we'll check the back. The back is way off. The back I'm at 4.5. So on the other side it's about 3 centimeters. It's much softer. So we're gonna take this back and just make sure they're both even. All right. Did quite a bit of adjustment actually on the passenger side. Jack's just putting the wheels back on. Once we got the ride height even on both sides, we found that the preload on the springs was also different. And so right now, everything on the car now is set up is completely balanced. We're gonna take it for a test drive and make sure I don't have any more pulling to the right, because I think that's solved. And the other thing will be, depending on the length of the spring, the rear seems to be a little bit looser compression on that spring as far as the preload. So we'll check that out in test drive, and maybe if it's not just what we want, we could come back and adjust that another time, but hopefully test drive right now, completely balanced, level, straight steering. Let's check it out. All right, so pre-test drive disclaimer. The front tire, we've got a gap of about a centimeter and a half, basically the width of my finger, fender to wheel. On the back, it is tight. Yeah. It looks sick, but it's literally like pinching my finger. I've got less than a centimeter, so we're gonna go for a little spin and see how that rides. But otherwise, we know now the car should be balanced. It shouldn't be pulling to the right. So let's go check it out. So initial reaction is awesome. Just on the straight stretches in my neighborhood, I'm driving straight, where before I was always correcting to my left. The car pulled right all the time.
Like a NASCAR.
No, it pulled
in reverse.
It's backwards. It was like going backwards around a NASCAR track. So the preload on the passenger side was stiffer, and the passenger side was lower. And so basically it was really stiff and leaning to one side. So it always wanted to go to that side. And probably when I was trying to turn left, because of the stiffer ride on that side too, it was resisting turning left at the same time. So good adjustment. That was, yeah. Oh, I heard a little wheel rub.
Oh yeah.
Our rear might need to come up like a centimeter. We made it pretty tight. But we'll have a look at that after. That's low life. Or we go for a burn on the highway, and then I think our work is done. Sweet.
Yeah, finally.
So that's a big project, but you know, I don't think it's totally complete. I think we do need a little bit more space in the rear. But yeah, that was awesome. Now let's go see if it improves our performance. Because I think we should actually go faster. I just said to Jack, we should have more even power distribution if our ride is even and balanced. So let's check it out. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll get some more videos in sooner than later. And I don't know what next, but we'll do something. So everyone have a great summer. Tune in again, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Talk to you soon. Meanwhile, we interrupt this vlog to chase down a Mustang. There's a pretty nice white Cobra in front of us. Check it out.